Let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Detroit Lions. Quiet as kept, they have some of the same issues with their running game as does the New York Giants. There's no questioning the talent and depth there in the backfield, but they have to make a concerted effort to establish the run in this ball game. The Cardinals defense provided a challenge, as does the Giants front seven, so it's up to that offensive line and backfield to be up to and meet that challenge head on. Defensively, the Lions will be facing a Giants offensive line that has had some issues up front, especially on the edges. This will be a prime opportunity for them to get their pass rush jump started. Last week, the Lions only registered 1 sack, and they'd like to see that number increase significantly this week. Going back to the offensive side of the ball, I think the Lions have to make this game a track meet. I feel as though they are well equipped and experienced to push the pace and the tempo on offense more so than the Giants. The goal for Detroit should be to build a 10 to 14 point lead and force the Giants, that sputtering offense, to break their tendencies, break their script, and play your game, which could lead to mistakes. Moving over to the Giants in this ball game, I think it's probably best for the offensive line and subsequently the offense as a whole to go up-tempo 2-minute offense the majority of the game. Put Eli Manning in the shotgun, go no huddle, and allow him to call plays at the line of scrimmage. This takes a lot of pressure off the offensive line, and it doesn't allow the defensive line to get adjusted. It'll also help Eli Manning to get into something that he likes and get rid of the football quicker. Defensively, they may have to start thinking offensively, and by that I'm speaking of generating turnovers and looking to score. Granted, that extra aggressiveness could make them vulnerable on the back end or susceptible to giving up the big play, but when you're trying to help out your offense, the best thing for a very good defense to do is to put points up on the board. You only have to win 2 out of the 3 aspects of a game, and if you're the New York Giants, while your offense is struggling, it's best to count on a stout defense and strong special teams unit. These 2 things were consistent last year for Big Blue, and they'll need their special teams to come through this week in all 3 facets: kicking, coverage, and also returns. The biggest X factor in this ballgame for the Detroit Lions will be defensive coordinator Terrell Austin and what he can dial up to keep this Giants offense grounded. We saw him last year, I want to say in week 15. The Detroit Lions actually played a solid game against this Giants offense. It wasn't until a late touchdown by Odell Beckham that pushed him over the top. So what he can do to keep this offense sputtering could help the Lions win this ball game. And I believe the biggest X factor in this game for the Giants, I look at wide receiver Roger Lewis Jr. Here's a guy that can play that third wide receiver role, which will bring back the balance to their passing game. Without Odell Beckham, teams are able to easily defend them, even with a guy like Evan Ingram out there. So when you add a third receiver, a guy that can make consistent plays like Roger Lewis, it will open things up for Sterling Shepard, open things up individually for Brandon Marshall, and make things a lot easier for Evan Ingram, and subsequently make things easier for the running game. So I think a third wide receiver has to step up, and that guy can't be Roger Lewis. I like the Lions in this ball game. Like I said before, the Giants and the Lions are very similar in what they're good at and where they struggle. The difference in this ball game and the difference between the 2 teams is that the Detroit Lions can actually get themselves out of a funk offensively if they get into one, whether that's early or late. So again, you have to trust the offense that can move the football and can put points up on the board. And right now, that's Detroit.